Something has got to happen because we can no longer go down the path that we're going down. This country won't last another 6 months. This country won't last another 12 months if something doesn't happen. So it's time to flip the switch. It's time to get involved. It's time to move the line forward. And if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So I don't care what flip the switch is. I don't care if that means that all of this nonsense is nonsense, or if some of it's true.
All right. Welcome. Man, I'm excited for tonight. It's Friday night, and we have a mega panel ready for you guys tonight. So pretty excited about that. Welcome, Warriors, World Patriots, and my fellow Americans. My name is Mike. I'm the host of the Liberty Warrior. Give me liberty or give me death. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. And it is a wonderful night. I've got quite the lineup for you guys tonight. I know Tammy went on earlier and kind of let the cat out of the bag, but that's all right. They're all here. They're in the waiting room. They're ready to go. I'm going to bring my co-host out with me tonight, Tammy, the Hammer Nation, and then we'll bring out the other panelists as well. I just want to say a quick little prayer real quick, Tammy, before we get started tonight. But I know you were pretty excited when I gave you the news of who said they'd come on tonight, and we're going to do a show. And I know the whole team got excited as well.
I'm looking forward to this because a great panelist that you have, great group of everybody, and I think we're going to have a lot of great information and opinions to share, and I'm really looking forward to getting this started, getting out of the gate. I'm a horse ready to go. Let's go. Let's pray
All
in
right,
and
let's go.
hit it.
We're going to pray it in. We're going to pray it in. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you tonight, Lord, and we're just so grateful, Lord, for this Supreme Court decision today. I think it's one of many. I think it's just the tip of the iceberg on what America and patriots are going to start seeing, this movement across this nation and around the world, Lord. And we're just so grateful and thankful. We give you all the praise, all the honor, all the glory for this victory. And Lord, I just pray tonight that the audience will have a wonderful time tonight in the chat, watching, viewing, listening, whatever they're doing. I pray that the panelists will have a great time tonight too, as well, in the camaraderie and just the interaction with one another. Just, Lord, this is just an amazing time, and I'm so thankful that I get to share it with everybody watching tonight, with everybody listening tonight, and with the panel as well. And I say all these things in your Son's mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, let's bring in the motley crew. First, I'm going to bring in John Estabrooks.
Hey.
Hold on. What happened? There we go.
All right.
Hey, John.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I am totally, this is an amazing day for me. It's been full of some tears at times and celebration and prayerful moments. I took some additional time in prayer to thank God for this decision that's long overdue.
Amen. All right. The next guest that we have tonight on the panel is none other than Red Step Stacker. How are you doing tonight, Red?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear.
What's the deal with that mask?
Mike, am I the only one still wearing this?
You're the only one still wearing this.
It's okay to take it off. I'm okay.
You're okay. You're good here at LWN.
Yeah.
All right. This has never happened before.
Drum roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, redheaded Step Stacker unmasked.
All right.
Right here.
Take some nice deep breaths. Take some nice deep breaths. Enjoy that freedom. There you go. There you go.
All right. I just want to say thank you to Kimberly Carson for the super chat. She says, "Yeah, God, yay, God, and yay for the babies." Absolutely. Thank you for that kind donation. You guys, if you're excited for tonight, please hit that like button. Share this out. This is a special edition tonight, and I still have one panelist in the waiting room that I'm going to bring out here in just a moment. But hit that like button, blow it up, share this out. If you're on your phone and you still haven't figured out how to hit the like button, there's a little X in the right corner over there, right below the video. You just click on that red X, and then you can hit the like button, and then you push the little text, little bubble looking thing, and you'll go right back to chat. It's that easy. That easy. You can hit that like button. All right, here we go. The last panelist for tonight is none other than Jeff B. himself. How are you doing this evening, Jeff?
Yeah, I was.
Hey, brother Jeff.
I was hoping we were getting ready for Antifa season when I seen that mask. I didn't know. Yeah, it's Antifa season. Yeah,
it is that, and we'll talk about a little bit about that tonight. I'm sure we'll get into it. So this is the deal. We got 5 of us on panel tonight. We got a 1 hour show, 1 hour, 20 minutes. We won't go longer than 90 minutes for sure, because I know everybody's got things to do. It is Friday night. A lot of people out camping, grilling, and having fun. So I'm just going to start off with some of the topics that we're going to cover tonight. I'll kind of throw the topic out there, and then I'll just go around the horn and give you guys each an opportunity to either bring information to it, intel to it, a comment, opinion, whatever you guys want to do. But I'd like to get around to everybody through all these topics. So if we can try to keep the answers somewhere around 3 minutes, that would be great. So everybody gets a chance to talk here tonight, because we've got some really Amazing topics tonight. And I think the first one that we're going to start with is one of the biggest ones, which is Roe v. Wade. And I think I'm going to go ahead and let John Estabrooks lead off tonight with Roe v. Wade because he has some history, background on it. Maybe could set the stage on where Roe v. Wade came from. And then I'm going to end the conversation with Red because Red brought up a very unique piece to Roe v. Wade that I believe happened recently. Correct, Red?
I would say within the last 2 years, yes.
Okay, and so I'm gonna let Red finish that conversation. So John, if you wouldn't mind going first, and then I'll go to Tammy, and then I'll go to Jeff B and finish with Red.
All right, so the very first part of it, I'm going to read exactly what the Supreme Court decision and what they held. The Constitution does not confer a right to abortion. Roe and Casey was Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and are overruled, and the authority to regulate abortion is returned to the people and their elected representatives. And prior to this right decision, the Supreme Court held that Roe was decided, and it was decided, and in that opinion, that it was a 14th Amendment breach, that anytime that a woman, has right to her liberty body and her privacy between her and her doctor on the decision of life in the womb. And the one thing that was not really in the first decision that was very lacking and was not properly was whether or not the viability. They did not go into any depth about the viability of the fetus at what stage. And then you see all of the process that have followed since Roe v. Wade. And every time a state has taken any direction or any step to overturn Roe v. Wade, it has always introduced new technology, new science to the viability of the existence of a human in the womb. And that's a huge statement, because now the court, through this process, recognizes, okay, there is no right. And they went back to the 10th Amendment. And now we're living as we should live, to where any right, the federal government had absolutely zero right to determine for the people of each state the direction of that state. And the long-held history is what's throughout this opinion, throughout this decision, listed case after state, state after state, to where states had, all 50 states at one time had laws preventing abortion, until Roe v. Wade brought in the question of the 14th Amendment. So it was wrongly decided by that court, and now it has been set right and back and is returned to the states and the vote of the people in each state and that state legislature. Now, Justice Roberts, Justice Kavanaugh, and Justice Thomas each wrote brilliant conclusions, and where they concurred with the decision. And this was 6-3. The three dissenters, Breyer, Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan, their dissents, when you read their dissents, are political in their narrative. Mm-hmm. I mean, they keep referring to stare decisis. And if you guys recall, if you watched any of the hearings to Donald Trump justices, Democrats continually brought up and attempted to have a justice speak to Roe v. Wade. And if they would have spoke to Roe v. Wade, then they would have had to recuse themselves, but they all outwitted him. So then they said, well, what's your belief on stare decisis? Stare decisis says the court has an established precedent, and they have a case to where, okay, we upheld Roe v. Wade in this case, and we upheld it, but they all used the viability of the fetus as a living being in the womb.
Yep.
And that's hugely important, because that was our battle cry. Is so, and I used to tell a lot of the Tea Party folks, and I shared this with Mike earlier. My first statement, a lot of times given a speech, was what rights and when nation If you are a nation of people willing to accept murder in the womb, what won't you accept?
Bingo. You're right on that,
And I'm
John.
going to leave it right. That's my 3 minutes.
All right, ladies. Tammy, your turn, and then I'll go to Jeff B.
Well, I'm going to speak to that, citing Maxine Waters in her reaction to this. Obviously, she had no respect for the Supreme Court decision at all. She said, I don't care what that vote is, was, or will be. We are not going backwards. We are going forward, and we are going to fight. We are going to hit the streets and fight this. It doesn't matter what they say, and saying that women have a right to this and this with their bodies and everything else. Can you imagine being mad because of giving the rights back to people to be able to vote for what they want in their states, going through the legislatures, because, she's upset because no longer can you just be free to murder the baby no matter where you are. I just thought it was disgusting. She's once again inciting violence, hitting the streets, and she's playing on the Black community, saying the Black women are not going to stand for this and throwing that racial card in there. It was disturbing, disgusting, and so wrong. When I saw her march through the reporters and have that attitude, once again, wanting people to hit the streets, it disgusted me. I thought right there, that's a terrible representation of a woman. She should have a little more kindness about it and be a little bit happy. Maybe we've saved how many babies? They saved how many babies in this? You know what I mean? And then we have Omar, who said we need to trust women with their choices and we're not going to stand for this. That's what she came out instead to the media today. And then Alexandria Cortez actually blew through reporters, had an attitude, didn't seem to have anything to say. And my thing is, those are in Pelosi. Let me tell you what, Pelosi on the podium today, stammering through her anger and her irateness, causing it a radical Supreme Court justices. This is radical. I mean, she's so incited by all this. And I thought, lady, where is a good representation of the women? You know what I mean? Marjorie Taylor Greene is about the only one that came out that I saw today that had anything that I felt as an empowered woman and a representative had anything decent to say and try to keep things calm and not incite violence, riots, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my take on it. It was a sad disappointment, in my opinion, the representation of women we saw across the media today.
Great points there, Tammy. And just for everybody listening, once we get through these topics, if we still have plenty of time left, I'm going to give everybody on the panel a free-for-all. I'll give Jeff B. Time to put out any information he wants to put out, Red, John, and Tammy as well. So stay tuned. We're going to go through some of these topics that we want to talk about tonight, and then we can dive off into some other areas as well. So I'm going to go to Jeff B. And his comment or whatever he'd like to say about Roe v. Wade. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that it was pretty much unexpected that they were going to overturn it. I mean, somehow mysteriously, the opinion was leaked, which why isn't that being investigated? But yeah, I seen some of the gaslighting going on today, and I was shocked to see Maxine Waters because she's been a ghost. Nancy, she probably needed another bottle of vodka or something. I mean, but through the last 2 years, everybody's saying all this. This Supreme Court justice is on the take. This Supreme Court justice is on the take. So I guess that theory is kind of maybe fell through. But my biggest, the overall, I mean, I'm not a female. I mean, I guess I could identify as one. But really, my opinion in this ruling really shouldn't matter. But why are all these decisions that are seeming to come out pretty much are like pro-Trump decisions? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, we got the most popular president in the White House ever. I mean, this guy's a rock star. So But and I had this question asked to me today: do I think there's going to be a Summer of Love 2.0? I don't think we're going to see that this time. For some reason, my gut's telling me that it's going to be quiet. I don't know why. Everybody has a feeling something is definitely wrong, and a lot of people aren't listening to these politicians and these race baiters and uh, anarchists and Antifa. People that just absolutely hate America, and
Hmm.
it just amazes me that you're taking just because Roe v. Wade was overturned doesn't mean everything stops. It just goes back to the states, and then the states decide. And guess what? If you don't like the ruling that your state made, move to a different state. Pack up your bags and
Hmm.
or be a responsible human being and use contraceptives or you know. But the protests that were going on, I was looking at some of the people, and I know some people are going to take this wrong, but why is it that all these protesters are out there that probably couldn't get laid in a room full of dicks? I mean, I mean, uh, I know it's a wrong thing to say, but damn, I mean, it was pretty ominous looking at this, and it's like, what do you guys even care? I mean, it's pretty sad. That'll probably have to be clipped out if you're planning on uploading it anywhere else. But
Hey, Jeff.
I'm
Jeff, wasn't it? Didn't you say that once this goes back to the states, there's already 18 states that said they were going to make it illegal?
yeah,
Louisiana, as of today, my man, because
yeah.
Louisiana's last case in front of the Supreme Court came from our legislature, and our legislature said that if it was ever overturned, it would be active, proactive. That today in the state of Louisiana, abortions are illegal.
And
Wow.
Ken Paxton and the general attorney in Texas also said, as of this day, it's illegal to have an abortion in Texas. And he named today as a holiday for the attorney general's office, closed the office, and sent everybody home. So that's two
Wow.
that we know of.
Yeah.
South Dakota's governor also said it would be illegal there as well.
Yeah, I know. Mike DeWine, he put out a statement, and I don't know if DeWine's had a come to Jesus moment, but over the last 6 to 8 months, he's pretty much made a bunch of decisions and signed in some legislation that surprisingly goes by the Constitution. So,
Great awakening.
Yeah, it's happening.
right.
All right, let's I'm gonna go ahead and make my comment before you do, Red, real quick. I'm gonna make mine short and sweet. I heard, well, first, I believe that life begins at conception. I am 100% against people using abortion for birth control. That's my stance, and that'll never change. I heard today, I seen a clip where Marcy Taylor Greene said that AOC is making comments out there for people to go to the streets and riot and do certain things. And she used the word that she is actually inciting an insurrection, and that she should be prosecuted for it. So this is my deal. If you're going to hold conservatives and Republicans accountable for their words or actions and claim certain things like that happened on J6, then damn it, you better start doing it with the Democrats as well, period. And then I believe, Tammy, you had said something behind the scenes where Biden was so unhappy with the ruling that he was discussing trying to pull out the old pen and create an executive order over this. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, something like that. He was flapping his lips about doing something like that. And, who knows if he'll remember by 2 minutes after saying it, unless somebody puts it in front of him and makes him sign something.
All
Yeah, he
right.
can
Well,
forget it.
that's about all I'm going to say about Roe v. Wade for now. So go ahead there, Red. It's all yours.
Let's see. First, I'd like to say, I'm not sure how many of you guys noticed that Penguin 6 was literally 4 feet from Miss Waters, from AOC, who was wearing protected armor, very obviously, which is weird because it's illegal in her state. And
Right.
so I thought that was weird. And you guys mentioned Nancy. If you heard Nancy's speech today in rebuttal to SCOTUS, her hands were the deepest purple, maybe 3 shades shy of eggplant purple. I don't know why. I started thinking the lizard thing. I'm like, she's either she's a lizard or she's going to have a heart attack today. She's about to have a stroke or something really bad is going to happen to her because the color of her hands, she's wearing a red jacket. If you want to go back later tonight and you're bored and watch these on fire purple hands floating around. And here's the part that made me think lizard is an earring, a big heavy gold earring fell off of her ear and she caught it like that on one bounce on the table.
She did.
Like a lizard.
She did.
And then you notice this purple hand and she's really upset. You know, I mean, most people, their face gets red when they get upset, but maybe lizards' hands because they're cold-blooded. I'm guessing. I don't know, but I did actually go back to grab that. And yeah, and I actually was going to make a little video with it. I did re-record the song, the Men Without Hats song. That was Safety Dance. It's now Baby Dance, and it's Men Without Hooks. I think it's called Men Without Hooks, not Men Without Hats.
Well played. No coat hangers allowed.
Right. I whittled it down. I started with that idea, and then I was like, okay, what part of the hanger do we? So that's up on the Red Step Stacker channel for fun. But interestingly enough, it might have been HBO, Showtime, or maybe Netflix that had a documentary about the woman who was named Roe. Her name's really not Roe. And I forget her real name, but I watched the entire documentary and somebody had posted it on YouTube.
Listen to this, folks. Listen to what Red's going to tell you. All right. This is very important what he's about to say.
This is where it gets really good. You know, somebody's about to say something important when they start talking quiet. You know, when somebody's real loud, it's like, shut up. I don't want to hear your story about what you did. But when they're like, and then when we got back to his house, it was, and you're trying to listen. So this is the good part. The documentary shows the woman that was portrayed as Roe before the United States was that 1971, right? And
Yeah.
she is now on her deathbed. She's in a nursing home. I believe she's on oxygen. And she explains that first, she did not get the R word, I'm not going to say it here, by several men. The words that came out of her mouth were, I was married very young. I think she said 15 or 16. She married an 18-year-old. She was with him for 2 or 3 years, and then she told him she was pregnant. He beat the hell out of her. So she said she was the R word so she could get an abortion, which was not true because he didn't want it. On top of that, she says it just like this in the same sentence. And on top of that, I'm a lesbian. Right, Roe. Okay, it gets even better. She says, now, today I realize what I did, and I will take the death of every aborted baby to my grave because I lied and I did the wrong thing when I had a chance to tell the truth.
And that's exactly 63 million, just so everybody's aware of that. 63 million to the grave since 1973.
And it's on YouTube. Everybody could watch that documentary tonight. You know, it's well worth the watch.
Unbelievable.
Hey, Mike, quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question. does everybody have headphones on? I need headphones, right?
I know Jeff doesn't. I know
No,
Jeff doesn't have
I
it.
got
Okay,
sunglasses.
I might
though.
have to plug in. That's why I'm saying that. I've been trying to charge this thing all day, and
Yeah,
it
go for
charges when it thinks I'm at night. Okay, I don't need to
Yeah.
do that yet. And that's all I really have to add to that as far as Roe versus Wade. But please find that documentary, and it is jaw dropping. And God,
Wow.
the woman became a Christian. She came to Christ, and then
Amen.
feels that she's taking all of this death and grief from all these deaths to her grave. And imagine the weight of that on
Oh, man.
one little girl, because that's what she was.
Yeah, she was a little
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
young.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was
Unbelievable.
manipulated. And
Well,
they,
Yes,
yeah.
she was.
they actually interview the lawyers or the staffers of the lawyers that were working with her at the time, and they're actually replying to what she's saying. And she's accusing them of using her, and she accuses herself of using them. So it's a very interesting watch because everybody's being called out and everybody's taking responsibility in that documentary.
Wow.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next topic. I'm gonna let Jeff B lead off with it. Then we'll go back to Red, to Tammy, and then over to John Estabrooks. I'm gonna let Jeff B lead off with this one. The topic is New York gun law for the constitutional carry, conceal that seemed to be overturned as well last week. Jeff, the floor is yours, brother.
Yeah, I mean, they have in New York, other than Chicago, has some of the strictest gun laws in the nation. And during the celebration of Juneteenth in Harlem, they had a major, gun battle. And then I think it was the mayor of New York come out a little while ago and said that there were long guns in the state of New York. Well, the Constitution didn't say how many muskets you could have. Because these guys were so brilliant that they knew that over time technology was going to change. It just dumbfounds me that all these take your gun away states seem to have the most problem. With our governor in Ohio, he just signed a bill and it's active now to where you can John Wayne it. Well, you could open carry in Ohio. You could John Wayne it anywhere you wanted to. But now, you don't even have to. You can carry a concealed weapon with no permit. And I guarantee you we won't have many shootings because it's going to be like, well, shit, am I going to rob this place? How many people are going to pull out a gun and play tag you're it? But here's another instance. Why all of a sudden is this Supreme Court coming out with these radical, I guess some people would say radical decisions? I'm a firm believer that if you can serve your country at 18, there should be no reason, with some circumstances that if you're a mass murderer or whatever. But if people want to get guns, people are going to get guns. And the last thing that this country needs to do is make the same mistake that Australia did.
Yep.
And give up their guns, because if it wasn't for that Second Amendment, I'm pretty sure we'd be further down the sewer than what we are.
We'd be full blown communism by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, is that all you got there, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh, that's it for that one.
All right, we'll go to Red. Go ahead, Red.
Sure, this question touches upon that link I sent you early this morning.
Say that again. You were broke up just a minute.
Okay, this question relates exactly to that link I sent you. This is the part where I could dump that information off my.
Go for it.
Okay, this morning I was looking at the results of what happened the night before. Now, the way I understand the Constitution, to make any changes to the Constitution, those changes have to be done with 2/3 of the vote to pass. So it's not one vote over and win situation. So I went back and did the math on 65 and 33. 65 plus 33 is 98. 2 people were absent. And 2/3 of 98 is 65.33. They only got 65. So they were 1 vote short, because you don't dismiss the 0.33. That's part of, there's nowhere in the Constitution to say, but if there's a remainder, you can erase it or give it to this side or give it to that side. That's not how it works. You have to have 2/3 or better to pass. They didn't have that. So this morning, I got all my people together and I started at the top. By the time I got ready to go on the air, I was at Alabama. I went through a list of every single Republican, called their offices. By the end of the list, I was actually getting live people because it was getting later in the morning. And I had 1 kid in the morning. I had about 9 people answer. 7 of those people were excited by the information I gave. And 1 kid goes, wait a minute, what's the bill number? I go, I don't know the bill number, man. I've been trying to find it all morning. He goes, okay, here it is. Okay, you're right. You're right. Oh my God, you're right. The kid kept saying that to me. That I was right, that 2/3 needed to be passed in both the Senate and the House. Now, today, the final count in the House was 203 to 217. That's nowhere near 2/3 the vote. Now, then later in the day, Killer Fuzz, who just lost his channel yesterday, and he's operating under his own channel, Killer Fuzz and Killer Fudd Red Step Stacker Quantum, which is a great channel where he makes fun of me and puts me in my place. Well, that's what he used to do. Now he just does his thing, and it's beautiful as far as reporting the truth. And so he contacts me. He goes, dude, I just got off the phone with my senator, and he said it's 5/8 vote because it was a filibuster. I said, at what point do we negotiate 2/3? The Constitution said 2/3 the vote. If somebody filibusters, you don't make it 58. He goes, so they only needed 60. I go, no. I go, you can't make an illegal deal. If me and someone else sit down and make a deal and we do a written contract and the contract states illegal things to happen, like for instance, I'm going to hire 10 workers from Jeff B, but we're not doing the 10-minute break within the 3rd and 4th hour of the day. And during that 10-minute break, I'm going to give everybody an extra $100. Everybody's happy, but it's not a legal deal, even if everybody signs on the dotted line, because the contents of the law are illegal. How the hell did we get to 5/8 from 2/3? And it just doesn't work for me. Now, everybody has a different story why the 2/3 rule doesn't account for what happened today, and that disgusts me. And then to see 203 to 217 victory by 15 votes, that you have to get 2/3 to change the quality of my God-given rights. That's just the Constitution. Where's the conversation? I don't understand, or why we have to have one.
Yeah. So what you're saying and what Red's talking about is them actually not passing the bipartisan gun bill that Mitch McConnell, the Turtle Man, and John Cornhole, or whatever his name was there, they were working on really hard to have a bipartisan with the Democrats pushing this new legislation bill. It did not pass. Now some lamestream media is saying that it did pass by 5/8. And what Red is saying, no, the Constitution says 2/3 period. It goes back to shall not infringe. It's 2/3 period. that's what Red is talking about. So I'm going to go to Tammy. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to quote Mr. Roberts, Justice Roberts, because it was simple and elegant and truthful, not emotional. Great respected man. We all know we love him. But he said it violates the 14th Amendment by preventing law-abiding citizens with ordinary self-defense needs from exercising their right to keep and bear arms in public. Because you hear all the people that are enraged all the time about guns. Get them out, get them out. Then we hear, well, deer don't wear Kevlar. You don't need the AR-15s and all that. Well, our founding fathers were not hunting. They were saving a nation. So my thing is, these people that are anti-gun, is because they aren't educated on the facts and the data of who dies where, when, why, and how with these guns, and realize we have open borders that bring tons of illegal guns in here, and it's criminals that are coming in with those guns doing bad things. Those are the guns we need taken off the streets. Those are the funds we need to get that taken care of. These law-abiding citizens who go through the NRA and do it the right way are the ones they need to leave alone. And I'll tell you what, these so-called people that say ban all these guns or get rid of them, you don't need a handgun. Who are you going to call and what are you going to do if there's somebody coming to your house or somebody's going after you in a store with a gun? Are you going to ask them to kindly drop it because you gave up your arms and say, you know what, I did the right thing. I gave my guns up. Please don't shoot me. And you think they're going to listen? So I think it's time for people to take their heads out of their butts and realize, you know what, whether you like guns or not, you're going to want to be with somebody that can defend you if you don't have a gun when somebody's coming at you or your family. And that's all there is to it. So I think that Justice Roberts is very clear-minded, and I respect the man, and I think he had a great statement about that. And it's time for people to stop believing the emotion that the media puts out there and gets people all hyped up. It happens all the time, shootings, and it's all over the place, and it's the drama and the emotion. And while it's evil and bad and nobody likes to lose anybody, especially the children, look at how cyclical it is, and look at how they don't do anything to protect us. They want to take our arms away while they supply arms to foreign countries of weapons of war. And then they have open borders that they can come in through. So what does that tell you right there?
Mike, can I throw a cherry on that real quick?
Go ahead.
How many teachers that watch their children, their students, get shot and murdered in front of them wishes that they had a gun and the ability to exercise their Second Amendment the way it was written at that very moment in time? And how many of those children would still be alive if that teacher at Robb Elementary had a concealed weapon? And if they're allowed to carry them, they don't have to carry them. There could be no guns in the school. There could be 100 guns in the school. But crazy people don't run into a police department and try and kill everybody. They go to the path of least resistance. So when schools are no longer the path of least resistance, then those shootings will stop. Of course, that's truly up to the CIA. But theoretically, amongst civilians, those would end.
Yeah, I agree. So New York getting that overturned, I think it was a win for New Yorkers. I think I think every state in the union should be constitutional carry, period. It is our constitutional right. And I mean, the numbers don't lie. All the gun-free zones, all the blue states, the blue cities. I mean, Chicago, they've been putting out for probably almost 7 to 10 days straight, all the shootings in Chicago. Guess what? Biden and Dr. Jill, they haven't made one trip to Chicago to put flowers on any of those children's graves. They don't care because there's no political gain from it. There's no political narrative that they can spin out of Chicago because they know Chicago has some of the strictest gun laws in the country. And so
9mm against the law inside the city of Chicago.
So, it's just it's just all used for their propaganda machine. And frankly, I think too many people are just fed up with it. So let's go to John Estabrooks. You there, John? Brother John. I don't know what happened to John. We'll come back to him. Let's go to I want to give Jeff B an opportunity to comment again on this one.
Well, to me, it's just amazing that the people who are out there crying, stop the guns, no guns. They have all these protective detail around them. I'm sure Maxine Waters, when she was out there, AOC, when she was out there, she probably had Capitol Hill police around her because they were out there fanning the flames of hate. And, if you don't want to own a gun, if you don't want to carry a gun,
You don't have to.
you don't have to. Exactly right. But, there's a lot of people that served and defended this country for your right to do it, and to have some jackass politician who pretty much goes to Washington, D.C. bankrupt, and 4 years later they're multimillionaires based on the Washington, D.C. new math. It's a state. Give it to the state. And if you don't like the way your state does it, hey, you're free to move to another different 49.
Well put there. Well put there, Jeff. John, can we catch your mic? No,
Two states actually charge you to move out. Illinois and New York, you have to actually pay an exit tax. So
are you
I don't know
kidding
if
me?
you can really. No.
Wow. Wow. That's wonderful. Those are
California,
two states I don't want to live in. All right, let's go to the next topic. I don't know what's going on with John's mic, but we're going to roll on here. I'm going to let Tammy go first. So the next topic we were wanting to talk about was the sketchy gun bill and percent of votes being questioned. Which is still kind of the similar topic that we're talking about. So Tammy, you can take it from there, and then we've got one last topic, and then we're gonna just have a free for all. So stay tuned.
I just think it's amazing that in the bill's sketchy. When you have sketchy in front of a bill and then you're debating percentages, why are you even debating it in the first place? It shouldn't be there in the first place. Sketchy. It's just ridiculous, and I don't know. I don't just want to give it any fuel. I think that we just need to stop with the BS and the nonsense of all this gun control, this and that. We got to start making some serious changes and just, we have gun laws for a reason. We're supposed to abide by them, follow the rules, and that's all there is to it. Why they want to start coming up with these bills and changing things, it makes no sense to me. I don't know what, other than it's to grab the guns, more control, put the fear in, try to restrict more, or give people rights to, if you don't do a certain thing the right way, they can take them from you. It's just all, like you said, shady, and they should not be doing it at all. Like I said before, the NRA people, it's not the NRA people that go around shooting and killing people. We need to maybe restructure funds, like I said, programs to go after the people who have illegal guns, the drug dealers, the inner city streets that are full of gun violence and gunfire, the gangs. Go after all that and leave law-abiding American citizens alone.
Amen. Red, your comment, and then I'm going to go to Jeff B.
That's how they go from broke to billionaires in 5 years, is those guns, those kids. I mean, that's where it's at.
True.
When you're making deals with, Mexican cartel, and you're, the mayor of a city of South Texas, that's the currency, and those are the things they're going to protect. So disarming us makes the over 85 crowd go, yeah, that's what you do. You take the guns away from everybody. No, it's not what you do. The mental health programs, that bill is a very, very crappy piece of legislation, pardon my French. But the bill before it last 2 weeks, it was grossly more offensive to the Constitution. Not saying that, one is better than the other, but thank God that other thing didn't go through. There'd be a lot of good people that have never done anything wrong that would never be able to carry a gun, not just singling out the children. And if a child can go to war, if my government came to me and said, you're going to war to die, and I was 20 years old and I couldn't buy my own gun, I'd be like, I'm going to Canada, dude. Or maybe farther.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. Let me bring John back in and see if well, he just disappeared. All right, John's having some problems. I'm gonna resend him the link. I want to make this comment and then I'm gonna let Jeff B go. The shady bill, I'm just I was very, very cautious about it, especially with anything involving Mitch McConnell, the Turtle Man. I don't trust that guy. He needs to be removed. And so anytime his hands are involved in any of that stuff and he says, oh, we worked up a bipartisan bill, the red flag laws were a huge thing to me. Huge thing to me. And so I don't think that there were good things in that bill whatsoever. And I think Jeff B said it best earlier today. He said, listen, when they overturned the New York gun laws, that pretty much was a mule kick right to the head of this gun bill. And that's why it didn't pass, because they knew if they did pass it, that the Supreme Court would turn right around and probably overturn it. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Jeff?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that, I mean, why couldn't you get to 2/3? That's the biggest thing. I'm sure the constituents are blowing up these people's, phones. And yeah, last time I checked, you can't rig a voice vote. You can rig the machines inside of Congress, but when you're going for a 2/3 something to adapt or change the Constitution, they do. From what I can remember, it's an actual voice vote. I mean, if they were doing it on any type of machine, you guarantee that would have been a 90%. We're all in, hand them over. But no, and it just goes back to what and Trump had said in the very beginning of his administration. Why can't you guys put up clean bills? Why can't you put up a bill with a single topic, get a vote, go to the next one, instead of putting in, oh, that's right, because you want the 500, 600, 700-page bills where no one reads through that garbage, and so you can make sure that you got money in your bank account to hire all that private security.
Good point. We got John back. Do you have your mic there, John?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Yeah, we can hear you. The floor is yours, brother. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, look, we got 435 yahoos in Washington, D.C. that we know are the uniparty. There is no two parties. That's just a bunch of the same son of guns leading us to the same path of destruction. But we do have a Supreme Court that nailed their butt to the wall in New York, and they showed the nation a course of action. If your state has infringed upon your right to protect yourself and hold on and possess your Second Amendment freedom, take their tail into court, and let's move it on up the ladder, because we see the path now, folks. That's the one thing about these two decisions. They are showing you that we have a court that is going to operate on the Constitution, a restored Republican form of government, where we, the people, can then decide the course that we will take in each state. And just like Jeff B said, if your state doesn't allow you, fortunately, Louisiana, we have open carry, and I firmly exercise my right and am proud to do so. And I'm well versed in a little control of a handgun, and I have been pulled over and stopped and told state trooper, look, Pop, I've got a Glock sitting over there in the front seat. And yes, sir, there's one in the pipe. He goes, well, that's the only way to operate it. I said, yes, sir, that's a fact. And we went on about our business. He did give me a speeding ticket.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I mean, it's time for this nation to, you've got to get folks inside of a state to where if they feel like their Second Amendment freedoms have been infringed, take it to court, run it up the flagpole. Because I'm certain that right now that this SCOTUS is going to stand with the Constitution. And boy, those are powerful words, shall not be infringed. Huh?
Yep.
Pretty powerful.
Pretty powerful. I'm gonna end this topic with my comment, and then we're gonna roll to the last topic, and then it's gonna be a free for all. And I'll start with Jeff B first for the free for all because there might be some things he wants to put out. But this is my comment to end this topic here. Democrats are on record making this statement. This is not over. We will fight like hell to change all this and put it back the way it was. And even we will do anything it takes. And remember that, anything it takes. And they also said, even if that includes expanding the court. Why would they need to expand the court, folks? Because just like John just said, because it is a court that will uphold the Constitution. And if they can expand the court, then they can get some very liberal judges in there that will be willy-nilly on all that crap, and it'll go right back to the way it was. So I'm going to end with that comment. And the last topic, which I'll go to Tammy first, since I'm going to go to Jeff first for the free-for-all. I'll go to Tammy first for Jane's Revenge inciting violence tonight.
Yeah, Jane's Revenge, which is a group that all has always taken to the streets and created violence. And they blow up buildings that are, pro-life type buildings. And they actually claim it almost like terrorist group, right? So they are, in my opinion, a domestic terrorist group. They've labeled us domestic terrorists in so many ways the radical left has. However, these Jane's Revenge, they allow to get away with this, even though they make the claims that they have blown up these buildings and churches. There's also a group called Ruth's Sent Us that is similar to that. So they are going around trying to intimidate people and get their way, bully people, create scare tactics so people don't go to work, threaten people. And it's just disturbing to me that they are allowed to get away with this. This is not protesting in a nonviolent way. This is not using, freedom of speech. This is intimidation factors that remind me of that summer in love when everything was on fire in all the streets and merchandise was being stolen. People were being beat up. Since when do they allow people inside our country to do things like this and get away with it? Yet law-abiding citizens who try to defend themselves with weapons or different things, they want to throw in jail, just like the J6 people. So it's terrifying and frustrating for me because, once again, it's women. It's another bad representation of two women's groups that it's ridiculous. And I hope that changes. Let's put it that way. I hope that just like we're seeing some shift in decisions that are being made, rulings that are being made, that some of these people will be held accountable and face consequences. Because until there's consequences, why should their actions change? They won't.
Yep. Good point, Tammy. I just want to say thank you to B-Cats for the coffee. Appreciate that, B-Cats. You said a lot of information there, Tammy. That's all true. This is my point. If anything starts happening, starting now, they were able to go back on J6 and find all these people through Facebook links and facial recognition and tattletales and all that other stuff. I find it very interesting if they don't use the same technology against anybody who does anything from here on out when it comes to this stuff. Go ahead, Red.
I have a friend who is a silver stacker whose job is to control a satellite over any area that what I deemed the summer of blood 2020. And we were watching live as he would go into people's phones, open up their Facebook, open up their pictures. If there was anything that had damage or fire or anything bad on it, he would put it in the pile to go to the government. And we sat there all night one night and we watched him go through everybody's phone and all the pictures they take when they're alone in the bathroom. And that's a technology that the government has, but they have to hire another company to do it. And this guy is that guy. He assesses risk for almost every government. He spent a year and a half in Saudi Arabia, and being he's more of a gold stacker. So he'd be going, hey, look at this gold bar I got. Hey, I'm a single guy, 40 years old with a great job. Hey, look at all this gold. And his name is International Stacker. He's a great friend of mine, great friend of Gibby's and the channels. And I would start paying attention to him because that is exactly what they do. That is how they find the people. And someone else, maybe even International Stacker, who knows, could have been doing it that day on January 6th and gave it to the government, not knowing, of course, he was only getting, if someone's taking a video of somebody destroying the Capitol, their phone information gets sent to Uncle Sam, not the guy doing it, the guy taking the video that's wanted, they want to see in the different area. And as far as the Jane Roe thing, well, based on the documentary, they might have to change their name because Jane wasn't down with that, as we found out that she so the Jane group, it's in 1971, stop me if you guys don't know this, Nancy Pelosi and her roommate, whose father was the head of the KKK in one of the southern states, wrote a bill, and that bill was the abortion clinic bill, and they put 251 abortion clinics across America, almost all of them in black neighborhoods. Now, that made me think, oh, well, maybe Nancy and her roommate don't like black people, but actually, it's the fact that many black people have type O blood. So when you resell these dead baby fetuses to China, they pay $13,000 for type O, and for a white baby, whatever, anything besides type O, you're getting like $3,500. So the woman getting abortions paying $400 or $250 or whatever it is, and then they're taking that, they're getting 10 times that back when they turn around and sell it. And if you guys didn't know, the Obama administration in one of the last 3 years of his administration bought 500 dead baby fetus heads for $510 each.
That's just disgusting. That's just
That's God's truth. And let me add to this. There are 3 types of truth on this earth. There is personal truth. That means, like, for instance, I identify as a female. There is political truth, and that is Nancy telling me, yeah, you really are a female. And there's God's truth. And we're talking tonight about God's truth. And Mike, that's why I like your channel, because we always talk God's truth on here.
Yeah. Amen. I'm gonna go to Jeff B next, and then John Estabrooks. Jeff, your thoughts on Jane's revenge? I'd like to hear this.
Yeah, these next few weeks are going to be real telling, and this goes to the conspiracy portion of the show, to where we've been told that assets are being seized and these people are running out of money and all this other stuff. So if the coin purse is dry, they can't pay all of these antagonizers to go out and, start their havoc. And this is why I believe we're not going to see anything. You may have some pockets where people are just dumb as shit and they have no clue. But if the money has been taken, and I point this at the very top, Trump's been out there telling everybody, we got it all. And me personally, I think they do. So if you've been seizing all these assets, these people should be damn near out of money. And maybe that's why, we see Nancy every time that she comes on TV, she's blowing a 3.0 because she's going through that private stash and she knows it's coming to an end. So, if we see any stacks, here's the other interesting thing. Talking to a very good friend of mine, Mike, you know who he is today, right after this decision come out. And I asked him, I said, so, what's the threat assessment look like? And he said, yep, it's normal. Absolutely normal. Nothing on the radar. So I think we're going to, like I said, the next 2 weeks, if cities burn, hell, I don't know where they're going to get the money to buy the gasoline. I mean, shit, I went out and filled up one of my vehicles and it was $120 and I thought I was going to have to call the bank and get a damn loan. But yeah, it's going to be real telling. It really is.
Well, that in that, Jeff, there's a lot of truth in that, but then we also got to recognize, you got knowledge, and knowledge is just what Red was talking. When you have the truth and you stand in the truth, and you have understanding of what this this decision actually did, and it didn't just stop abortions wholesale. It sent it back to the states to let the states decide. So the ignorance, and in ignorance, that means a person is not willing to understand truth or to even look at the truth. You get radicalized people. Now, are there enough radicalized feminists who are willing to pocket and take money out of their own pocket? Because I agree with you. I think that the funding that was there through the Summer of Love has dried up. I don't think that we're going to see busloads of people being hauled and being paid $1,500 a day to burn and destroy. But I do think that you've got some radical feminists. I mean, they hold, in their ignorance, they hold this affront. And then you have the incitement by Maxine Waters, AOC, even Nancy Pelosi. And the president today, he was really cognizant about making his last little statement about no violence, no violence. And all he was trying to do is make the appearance that he didn't want any violence. But in actuality, when you call the Supreme Court, and think about the separation of powers and how now Congress has, came out and just obliterated the decisions of the court, laying it, that they're Trumpists, and, now we've got to vote and we've got to turn this around. It's not over. We've got to turn out in November. And that's all they care about is political power and maintaining political power, which they have lost. And that's the reality. The American people see through all the scam. And anyone that truly is concerned about abortion rights and freedoms, all you have to do is go and look and read just a couple of paragraphs. And you don't have to read the whole thing, but go in and recognize what they said. Look, we're sending it back to the states. You people decide and vote it on in your states. Make your own decisions, which is constitutional. Same thing with guns. That's what I said. If the 435 idiots in D.C. are losing power, have lost power, and it's going to they're going to lose more power in November, because you can't jack up the cost of people's lives. I don't care if a person is ignorant to the truth and knowledge about everything that's taking place, the economy, forced injections, abortion rights, gun legislation, but high gas, that impacts an ignorant son of a gun, Yep. High grocery bills, that a man is just living paycheck to paycheck, he feels that. And let me tell you something, people vote with what's happening in that pocket. A working man understands, hey, and when you got a nation where only 30% of the people typically vote, trust me, they got to come up, and that power is going to be ripped away from them in November.
Yep. Good point, John. I'm going to end the conversation with this, and then we're going to go to the free-for-all, and I'm going to go to Jeff B. first. I'm going to end with this. There was some stuff that came out of Summer of Love of 2020, Summer of Blood, that there were certain people that didn't get paid, and they were not real happy about it. So you guys may be correct. There may not be any money left in the coffers. And as far as what happens in November, John, well, I look at it, I guess, this way. Are people going to go to the poll and vote because maybe they're pissed off that Roe v. Wade got overturned when all it really did was put the power back to the states? Or are they going to go to the polls and vote because they can't put gas in their tank and they can't put food on their table? So I'm looking at it and I'm weighing it. Am I going to vote because I'm mad about abortion, or am I going to vote because I'm pissed off because I can't even put gas in my car or food on the table? My thought is they're going to vote for B, which is I'm pissed because gas is so damn high and I can't feed my cats and my dogs and my kids. So Yeah, 100% they're going to vote for that versus Roe v. Wade, because really all Roe v. Wade did was put the power back to the states. And like we said at the beginning of the conversation, if your state it's illegal and you don't like it, then go to a different state. It's that simple. So that's what I think voting is going to turn out like in November. So that's the end of the conversation for tonight. So we're going to just go ahead and open it up to whatever you guys would like to talk about or say. I'm going to start off with Jeff B. I don't know if there's anything that he wants to talk about tonight, but I'll give him first opportunity, and then I'll go to Red, and then Tammy, and then I'll wrap it up with John, and then I'll have my final word. Go ahead there.
You know, if we get to November and I go to a polling place, I'm gonna be one pissed off individual, and I'm wholehearted about this, because we have been told for 2 years it was stolen, we got it all, and it's going to be shown. So if I go to a damn polling place come November, I'm going to be really pissed, because that tells me that this country's in the toilet. Now, I haven't been listening to anything Trump's been saying, because to me, it's all the same bullshit. Do I think there's something going on? Absolutely. I have shown Mike multiple videos of certain individuals that I know that have taken videos of certain things that make zero sense. Like, oh, I don't know, we'll throw this one out there. Joe Biden at the Buffalo International Airport going out into a public getting into a vehicle that wasn't Secret Service, and traffic driving by, and and I showed it to multiple number of people, and they're like, this is old, this is old, this is old. It's not old. And even if it is old, there's still a problem, because you are a high profile senator, you were a vice president for 8 years, and now you're president of the United States. Those type of people don't go to public terminals. And there's even a video out there of him walking through Buffalo International, and people thought it was a joke, like somebody was wearing a mask. And there's some other stuff that hopefully I'll be able to say later on that I've told Mike, but I don't want to put it out into the public right now. That is very interesting. So, like I said, if we get to November, we got a problem, and I would definitely, 45. If shit, sound like you. If we get there, sounds like you did a little bit of insurrection yourself. And it comes down to, I don't care. I mean, I watch all these shows, listen to all these people. I mean, there's some individuals that think Donald Trump's the second coming of Christ. He's just another man. I worry about the country, and the country is, and I think people for the most part are starting to see what the hell they may have lost, and they may lose if something doesn't happen. And here's the other really weird oddity, and this is not a made up conspiracy, because there's video out there, Nancy Drew, where she had filmed, it was probably 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, of JAG attorneys going into the U.S. Supreme Court. Why in the hell would JAG attorneys be going into the U.S. Supreme Court? Why are you there? And why all of a sudden did the attempted assassination attempt of a Supreme Court justice just disappear?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely disappear.
Yeah.
So that's I think we're in for a fun ride. I really do. And I'll put this on the record because I didn't threaten to take out a former president. And then I'll yield to my right honorable gentleman.
I want to ask Jeff one question before I turn it over to Red. I want to ask Jeff one question.
Yep.
Hey Jeff, when Biden had his little tumble the other day on his little bicycle down at the beach, who was the people that actually went to his aid and picked him up? And the other question is, do those chicken legs look like the legs of an 80-year-old man? And his arms, I noticed his arms too. Are those the arms of an 80-year-old man?
Yeah, you know the amazing thing. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a spoof at first. And, you know, that guy got, I mean, the press helped him out. And when I was talking to a couple people, I looked at it and I was like, man, this dude has darker legs on his hair than I do. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And shit, you're pretty toned for an 80-year-old dude. And man, this shit don't make any damn sense. And when some of my buddies were looking at the video, and they're sitting down because they thought I was a complete whack job in the very beginning. I'm like, look, dude, something doesn't feel right with this. There's something going on. And now they're looking at it and they look at this bike incident and they're like, holy shit. Man, he's fitter than I am. So, you know, I guess time will tell, but look, the American people better hope damn well I'm right, or we're going right in the old shitter.
Well, let's hope not. Red, your turn.
All right, give me a second. I'm going to invoke the spirit of Mike Penny.
Oh boy.
Now I'm going to tell you, there's two kinds of intel people. I just realized that this evening. There's the people that focus on what the bad people are doing. And there's people that focus on the good people, what all the good people are doing. And I just came to realize I don't spend enough time paying attention to what the good guys are doing. So I need to pay. I'm all tied up in everything that Nancy Pelosi's doing. You know what I'm saying? All right. You guys can hear me? 5 by 5. I'm sorry. I miss him. I miss falling asleep to whatever.
He's still on. I think he's on Patriot News Network or something. He's still out there.
Thank you.
I think he moved over to Patriot
Facebook.
News Network.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I found him on Facebook, but the last one was like 2 months ago. So here in Georgia, something very weird happened in Georgia recently, and I don't need to get into it. But that's going to play as long as I said, I don't pay enough attention to the good guys. I can't tell you when the good guys are coming. Michael Jaco indicated today that he was listening to Godlewski, who let's not have a conversation, but for some reason Michael Jaco said Godlewski says July 4th the Orange Eagle will land on July 4th. You know, the Orange Eagle's gonna land and take
I thought
his
that was
roots.
last July 4th.
What's that?
I thought that was last July 4th.
Well,
Okay,
doesn't future-proof
that would be
past
so
or some
funny if
shit?
Michael Jaco was watching last year's video, and he's like, "Oh, this makes a lot of sense," you know, because that's what Michael Jaco. So my point being that I don't pay a lot of attention to what the good guys are doing. Unfortunately, it really wears on your soul the other way. And I can't tell you what happened in Georgia last week is going to happen everywhere across the country until August, till we get through these primaries. And it's going to happen again in November. unless the good guys come in and stop it. So I know the playbook of the bad guys perfectly well. I have no question about what they're going to do. I mean, you get a surprise from now and then, but it's all crap we heard about 2 years ago actually starting to happen.
Yeah.
My prediction is that the UFO scare will happen over the United Kingdom, possibly sooner than I thought, because last week they just said they're going to war with Russia. And they have spread out amongst the globe to indicate that as far as MonkeyWorks is concerned. And I think I've watched MonkeyWorks once in the last 6 months. But I do understand, and I said it 2 years ago, and I'm going to say it again. Between November and January, if the people that took something that wasn't theirs don't show up for their first day of work, the job goes back to the other guy. The other guy, the two people that were in the go-kart race, the guy that lost, but everybody's like, that's kind of weird that he lost. It didn't seem. So what I'm saying is that is truly America's last chance to save itself. I'm just going to say it straight out. Okay, you've got from November to January to make sure that everyone that did not win the prize doesn't take the prize. And if the Michael Jacobs of the world decide not to do anything, then this country is 100% gone. But again, I can't tell you if Phil Godlewski or Michael Jaco is right about July 4th. And like your producer D says, I don't trust anything that has dates.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fair enough, Red. Tammy?
That's all I really want to add.
Okay, I'm going to say the focus has been on Trump for so long, and rightfully so. The man was a leader, great leader, still is, never gives up. But my thing that I've been doing is watching some key players that are directly involved in all of this going on and their demeanor and behavior. And I'm talking about Durham. He exists. He's having a good time with what he's doing. Everybody said he didn't exist. Then you've got Kash Patel, who's having a grand time with his 2K donkeys, right? Exactly. He's out there just slaying it. Then you've got, and all that. Also, Dinesh, who produced it. Dinesh is out there tearing people apart, challenging everybody to play it and saying, hey, don't just discount it and say it's not true. Come on and let's interview and do an interview. Then you've got Scavino, who is my favorite. Dan Scavino, the secret weapon, I call him, who's been by Mr. T's side, who is an underspoken champion in my book because he's out there. He knows everything that's going on. And his demeanor is quite happy and everything as well. When you look on social media, some of these people, let's take Devin Nunes, Greg Phillips, who is also part of the 2K. He's the data guy, and Mike Lindell. All of these key players are really having a good time these days. It's almost like they went from being quiet, doing the research, going through, putting together their individual products, and now they're out there just smiling, having a good time, making memes about each other, buddying up on all these different social medias. And I'll tell you what, if these key players who are directly involved are having a good time, I sure as the heck ain't going to sit back and worry and think and have any doubt, because I trust these key players that have come forward, risked everything when they didn't have to. If it's just a game and nothing's happening, why bother? And that's how I feel about it.
That's pretty good, Tammy. That's really good. John Estabrooks.
Well, as an Ovaltine guru, it's been disheartening. But the bottom line is that so much that was revealed to us, and however that psychological operation or whatever it is came to be and came to exist, it has revealed a lot of truth and more proof. Not just truth that they told us, but now we're starting to see evidence of proof. So, like economic turmoil and climax, things that we see, and I always tell Mike, and every time, two realities, good and bad. And in the bad and what we see, every person on this planet should recognize the inevitable economic collapse of the central bankers. And that is because of the U.S. petrodollar. when nations no longer will receive and exchange goods and services to the United States of America for the dollar, and I'm not just talking about crude oil, a lot of our food production that comes from overseas and products from overseas, people will no longer accept the U.S. dollar. You either buy their digital currency or their backed silver and gold currency, the ruble. And what's Putin doing? You know, for all of the sanctions economically that we slammed on him, removed him from the SWIFT, he's thriving. He's kicking tail. Not taking's going to China and India. And guess what? They're paying in rubles, gold-backed rubles. So you've got all these nations and said, "The hell with United States sanctions. We need oil." What did China? Yeah, we'll take all the oil them bastards don't want. So now we've got a government through sanctions that's destroyed and is killing us. That when that peckerhead went up there yesterday and started talking about a little tax holiday of 18 frickin' cents. So you're going to save me $20 over the next 3 months, you bastard? I'm smart enough to know that there's no, where's the logic, folks? The price of gas is going to continue to go up until this nation opens the frickin' closed refineries and starts our refining process and starts the production process. And why on earth you think the oil companies at $110, $120 a barrel give a rat's patootie what Joe Biden says? They don't. They're part of the corporatocracy, and then technology and all of the technology that we see. Look, this nation is a nation of slaves. We've been a nation of slaves for a hell of a long time. And the fact is that wake up at our core and understand. And I tell people all the time, well, when's the last time you voted? Well, there's nothing we can do. They don't care. And they're not. Well, wait a while. When the minute you hear the word "I don't care," forget that son of a gun. Because care drives and generates action. And if the people of this nation aren't driven by what you see taking place in Washington, D.C. and across this nation, if you're not driven to action, shame on you. You better learn to care because this nation's at risk. Now, if 17 is correct, like my wife tells me, John, you don't think Mr. T's just going to give up. He's not that kind of man. Well, okay, maybe listen, I am hardcore and prayerful that there is someone that's going to save this nation, because I don't see the people stance. I bet you today, if I round up 10 of my neighbors right now and say, come over here, let's talk about Roe v. Wade, them bastards ain't going to have a clue what I'm talking about, because they've turned off mainstream media. They've turned off mainstream media. It's all what's it feeding? Fear, economic collapse, fear, injection, fear. COVID, all that fear driven a nation to where they've turned off, and now they're becoming. Look, what are they aware about? The fact that when they go to buy a tank is double. The fact that when they go to fill up a tank, it's costing them $100. That's a reality to people that aren't paying attention. They've been indoctrinated and dumbed down by design, and it's up to you and I and the digital warriors, the patriots of this nation, to start driving people to care about the United States of America and the blood of every lost man and woman that fought to bring this nation into its existence, that fought in World War II. I remember every one of my nation was a plan that this crap could have never happened.
Yes. True.
Amen, Brother John.
Amen. Yep.
Amen. Well, here's my final thought. I'll give Jeff one more chance here if he has anything else he wants to say after I'm done, and then we're gonna wrap it up for the night. And I appreciate you guys joining me. Texas and decertification. Texas went out, and they're one of I think is going to be many here real soon that are all going to start joining, and I think we're going to see a lot of changes before November. Me personally, that's my personal opinion. I think a lot of people still believe, oh, nothing's going to happen of it, but I'm telling you right now, my belief 100% is Texas, Arizona, Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania, it's all going to come crashing down. The house of cards is crumbling, and it's going to collapse like crazy. And we're going to see a lot of stuff really start coming very quickly, very rapidly. I think it's going to be high speed action, and it's going to be hard to keep up with everything. It's hard to keep up with everything now as it is. The housing market is starting to shift. I think we're going to see a collapse there as well. This isn't fear. I'm just telling you what I see coming. You guys take the information. You can still thrive with this. You're safe. Make sure that you got what you need, and you'll be okay. I'm just telling you that the housing market cannot continue. So the housing market will collapse. That doesn't mean you're going to lose your home or your apartment. I'm just telling you that will happen. And I agree with John 100%. People are fed up. This is the crazy thing with all this stuff looming over us. I still see camper after camper after camper heading to the woods here in Idaho. I see people at the gas station filling up. I see people at the stores loading their carts up. And I think people are so fed up from what happened from 2020 on that they just don't care anymore. And it's been reported that credit card debt now is over $1 trillion here in America. I think people don't care. I think people are spending money. They're living their lives, and they're not going to let anything stop them from doing it. They don't care anymore. And I agree with John. They've turned lamestream media off. They're not listening to the BS anymore, and they're just going to go out and they're going to live their lives the best that they can possibly live them. And whatever happens, happens. And I think that's kind of a lot of people's stances. At least that's what I see here in Idaho.
Nice.
I am responsible for 1/3 of that credit card debt you mentioned.
Jeff B, do you have anything you'd like to add before we get out of here tonight?
Yeah, here's the timeline that I think everybody can agree on. Right before SCOTUS officially calls the break, do we get an opinion out of SCOTUS on the Big E interference? If we do not, which I'm not expecting, we have until September 2nd. September 2nd is the cutoff date constitutionally for the states to pull back electors. If we get to September 2nd and nothing has happened, our last failsafe is the United States military. And even though I've served with people and know people in the military that are shitbags, just because you serve doesn't mean you're a good person. You have a constitutional obligation to your country. That is our last failsafe. And I think we're going to get to that point. Some shape, form, or fashion, I think we're going to get to that point because stuff around Joe doesn't add up. Something's definitely amiss, and everybody knows it, whether they want to admit it or not, whether they have some type of money scam that they're going on, or whatever it is. Everybody knows something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're right with that, Jeff. I'm gonna leave and end the show on this comment here. And I want to thank Jeff for coming on, and John S. Brooks. Thank you, Red. Thank you, Tammy, for joining me tonight. It was a great panel, a mega panel. I absolutely loved spending this time with you guys on Friday night. I didn't have much going on tonight, and everybody was blowing me up all day long with what's happening. I said, well, let's just do a show tonight. So I put the panel together, and thank each and every one of you for accepting my invite. I think the audience enjoyed it as well. I'm going to leave you with this. Bottom line, no matter what, think about this. No matter what, no matter if the military don't come in, no matter if September 2nd comes and goes, no matter what, we've already made it almost halfway through this dumpster fire of an administration. And as Americans, we are resilient, and we can continue and we can make it another 2 years until 2024 and show up at the polls and make a difference. So that's the worst it gets right there. Yes, there could be more damage in the next 2 years, and yes, there could be not much of a country left by the time we get to 2024. But listen, we've got God on our side, and we can get through this no matter what. No matter what, we're going to get through it. And when we do, there will be change. So thank you all for joining me tonight. It was a magical night. I love it. Thank you guys.
It was
Appreciate
awesome. It was awesome. Thanks for having me. And it's good to meet Red too in person. Good to meet you, bud.
Very nice to meet you too, Tammy. And I'm crossing America, reminding everybody why we're fighting for this country. I'm exploring some of the most exciting things about this country. Join me on Hello America if you're interested in going to sleep with a smile.
All right.
Good
all right.
deal.
Love you all. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. Share this out. And I won't be back until Monday as far as me and Tammy. But I believe we have a show Sunday evening, right, Tammy?
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jay and Tina will be on with their Revelation series. It continues. So we'll see you there.
All right. Thank you all. God bless. Love you.
Bye.
Hoping for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment, to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. Can you tell me the secret of how you can take it or leave it? How you can blend in with the crowd? I'm so scared, so damn afraid to look. I'm so sick of talking.